welcome everybody to another episode of the SRU podcast with me and my guy Will Royal. How you doing today, Will?
Great Thursday going on so far, apart from this train wreck of a game I have off to the side that is Indianapolis and Denver. I barely even watched this game and I'm already bored out of my mind on it.
I didn't watch. I hadn't even looked at the game, so I
Considering you got lucky.
don't understand me. So hey, we got a pretty good week. Probably the best week of college football is probably this weekend.
Yeah. We're at week 6. No guest picker again. Our guest picker is sponsored by anyone who actually is enjoying this game.
Yeah. Our guest picker was supposed to be our guy Jack Cademo, but he's flaked on us. What, third week in a row? Two.
I think it's the second, but we'll let it slide.
Yeah. I guess we're let it slide, even though we promised the people that we were going to have a guest picker this week. But hey, no cigar, man.
But yeah, we have a good slate of games coming up this weekend. And we're going to start off with your team.
Yeah.
Your Razorbacks.
The Rouge.
Had a heartbreaking game last week against Alabama. They now travel to Starkville, take on Mississippi State Bulldogs. They're ranked 23rd. Going into this game, Mississippi State is a 9.5-point favorite. Your boy KJ is a game time decision, but if he plays, he's currently 80 for 121, just over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 1 interception, versus the air raid high Will Rogers of the Bulldogs, 171 for 234 attempts, with 1,700 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. So, do you think this is going to be kind of like that test of Mississippi State? Because they did beat A&M last week, and we'll talk about that when we talk about their game against Alabama. I'm going to have a lot of fun with that one. But, Arkansas, is this their rebound game, you think?
I would hope so, but from what I've heard in the Hog universe, the Hogverse, KJ will not be starting, and Cade Fortin and Malik Hornsby will be splitting the snaps at quarterback. So we have a true pocket passer and a true dual threat behind the helm. In Starkville, some people call it Stark Vegas. Don't know why, but hey, it is a thing. For this game, I'm not really sure who I want to, who I'm going to pick. My heart's telling me Arkansas, but like without KJ, it's going to be hard to pick. Because we will have to score with Mississippi State because our defense is so bad. We are the last team in the SEC West, which is very strange because a lot of people had us picked to at least be second or third place in the SEC West. I know, Will, you probably thought so. We have been putting up 32 points per game to Mississippi State's 38 points per game, and we've allowed 30 points to their 21. So I can see this being a high-scoring game. We've beaten them the last 2 years. We actually broke our SEC losing streak to Mississippi State 2 years ago at Sam Pittman's first year as the coach in the COVID year. So we have Sam Pittman is 2-0 versus Mike Leach. So I don't know who I'm going to pick, but, I'm going to just stick with my team and go with Arkansas for this game.
Yeah. I'm going to take the opposite. I think Mississippi State's going to win. It really comes down to how Arkansas's secondary is because they're not really going to rely on the run like what we saw with Alabama last week with Bryce being out. So I think more or less Arkansas's secondary is going to have to really step up the game. And watching them versus Alabama, I didn't really see much of that, at least for 3/4 of the game. And you're just going to be looking out for Will Rogers, just chucking it every other play. So I think Arkansas, it's going to be close to say. I think it's going to come down to like 1 or 2 possessions. I'm not going to say it's going to be a complete blow with Arkansas, but I think long-standing wise, Mississippi State's going to come out of this going 5-1.
Yeah. Arkansas did move Hudson Clark to safety, one of our cornerbacks. He has been getting burnt at cornerback. You remember that's the guy who had 3 interceptions against Matt Corral when they played Ole Miss 2 years ago. And he was a walk-on and got his scholarship. He actually got moved up to one of our best cornerbacks, but I did see on Pro Football Focus that we have the best um, performing cornerback in the nation at Dwight McGlothern, who has allowed. I don't remember exactly what. I should have saved the graphic and talked about it, but yeah, he's allowed zero touchdowns. I'm pretty sure only three catches or something like that. He has like crazy stats, which is crazy because we have the worst secondary in college football. But I feel like Will Rogers might have two interceptions this game. That air raid offense is going to come with its ups and downs, and he's going to have a few downs, in my opinion, because the last two games he played against us, I'm pretty sure he had around like two interceptions. So, hey, I don't know. So our next game is number 8 Tennessee versus number 25 LSU in Baton Rouge on ESPN at 11 a.m. This is a huge game. A SEC ranked game. Tennessee is a 3-point favorite. Hendon Hooker is 81 for 113, all close to 1,200 points. I mean, 1,200 yards and 8 touchdowns. Jaden Daniels is 89 for 131 with 915 yards and 6 touchdowns. For me, this is kind of an easy pick. I'm gonna go with Tennessee. They are bringing out the nice gray alternate uniforms that most people love. I like them. They're pretty cool. But Hendon Hooker has looked good, and Tennessee has looked good for the past week. Will, how do you feel about this game?
No, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna take Tennessee as well. Although right now, looking at the ESPN's Football Power Index, has LSU as a slight favorite. They're currently a 3-point favorite in Vegas's book, but I think uh, Tennessee's run defense is a lot better than LSU's, and considering that Jaden Daniels is both the leading passer and the leading rusher, I think their defense is going to realize like, okay, we can just blitz and do man coverage, and basically contain Daniels to a certain degree. And so I think Tennessee is going to walk out of Death Valley with a win. And nonetheless, the fact that like going because with games being scheduled 2 weeks in advance, we did not think that um, we're gonna like both these teams will be ranked by now. Nonetheless, Tennessee being a top 10 team. So seeing Death Valley and 11 o'clock games aren't really their thing. Like you know about Death Valley, it is a
Yeah,
loud stadium. But that's only really relevant for the 2:30 kicks and the 6, 7 o'clock kickoffs. 11 o'clock, like no one's really there, or at least if there are, they're not really like as anticipated. So I think Tennessee's going to use that advantage. Also being on a bye week, they're going to use that advantage just to rest up, and it's just going to be an orange battle, and they're going to go in this and use that momentum for Alabama in their advantage.
honestly, for this game, I can see the score equaling up to like 50 points.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these teams are second in their division of the SEC, and both teams have only allowed under 12 points average. So I can see this being a very defensive game, but at the same time, both offenses, mostly Tennessee's almost average 50 points a game. Like that's crazy. Don't like wouldn't you say that, Will?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm with you when it comes to running. Um, LSU, their leading rusher is their quarterback, so that's really not a good look when it comes to running back play, and it really helps the defense find who the key on for the to stop their offense. I'm really not sold on LSU, even though they haven't lost since the first week, and they hadn't really played anybody other than Mississippi State, which low key I think Mississippi State struggled that game, and that was probably the worst game they will probably have in this season because Mississippi State has a pretty good offense and their defense showed up last week. And Tennessee's coming off a big rivalry win versus Florida, and I really see Tennessee going on a little run and playing Georgia in a couple of weeks. and but they do have Alabama next week, so that's going to be pretty good. Yeah, Tennessee has a pretty hard stretch after this week. Well, including this week, they have LSU, then Alabama, then they get a little rush with the UT Martin, Kentucky, and Georgia, that's honestly I think that's probably the hardest stretch in the college football world to date.
Yeah, realistically looking at it.
Yeah.
I mean, Bama does have right now after this week, it's Tennessee, Mississippi State, LSU, Ole Miss. But we do have a bye week in that stretch, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to our next game. We're going to the Big 12 for this one. It is 17th ranked undefeated TCU taking on undefeated 19th ranked Kansas. College game day is coming here. It is a 11 o'clock kickoff in Lawrence, Kansas. TCU coming in as a 6.5-point favorite. ESPN's FBI has them at about a 67% chance of winning this. What we've seen so far, Max Duggan is 70 for 94, 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. Jaylen Daniels, who's on a lot of people's Heisman watch board, is 73 for 107, 983 yards, and 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. We did not expect this. Both these teams to go undefeated, going into week 6, and having college game day come to Kansas for the first time ever. But for me, at least, this is kind of seeing two of like my really good friends. They go to these schools, JP at TCU, Glenn at Kansas. What do you think as like someone who's in that area? What are your first initial thoughts of this game?
This game, I like TCU because their defense has shown that they're not just a regular Big 12 defense. They actually play defense, and they could actually play defense pretty good. Kansas, I haven't really watched much of them just because if I'm watching Kansas, it's definitely not for football. But yeah. I've heard their quarterback has been on a tear this year, going 73 for 100 and having 11 touchdowns to 1 interception. And a lot of people are saying he could be the Heisman favorite as of right now. Kansas and TCU have both allowed under 25 points per game. TCU at 22 and Kansas at 24. But TCU, I'm going to take them. They are my DFW team that I rock with since I've moved here. Go Frogs, JP. So, yeah, I'm going to go TCU this game.
Yeah, I'm going to take a slight chance of TCU winning as well. Last week they knocked off Oklahoma in amazing fashion. Their defense was on a show, despite the fact that Ncaa was out for most of the game, but we're just going to ignore that. So I think TCU comes out of this with a win and possibly make that push for a top 15 spot.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
Max Duggan has shown that he's a legit QB. He won his starting spot back because beginning of the year, he was the second string, and he's been the starter for, I think, 2 years, something like that, and he got his starting spot back. Kansas is number 1 in the Big 12, and TCU is number 4. So this is a big matchup, and this could decide who's the number 1 spot, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So let's go to this next game. Utah, number 11, at UCLA, the Rose Bowl. Let's see if UCLA can actually get people in the stands because people are not messing with their football program, even though they're undefeated in the top 25 team. This game will be on Fox at 2:30, and Utah is a 3.5-point favorite. Cam Rising for Utah is 95 for 139, 1,153 yards, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and to Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Bishop Gorman alum, ex Tate Martell backup. If you watch QB1, he is 104 for 140, 1,211 yards for 11 touchdowns and 1 interception. This is a hard game to pick just because It's a UCLA home game, even though that really doesn't matter at all. You know this, Will. We've talked about their poor attendance for a couple of weeks now, really at the beginning of the season. And Utah is a 68.9% favorite on ESPN. So I'm gonna go Utah. Utah's only allowed around 14 points average to UCLA's 20.8, and UCLA barely squeaked by number 15 Washington last week. And what Utah hadn't played anybody. They lost to Florida the first week. So this is actually kind of hard. I don't know if I want to pick Utah now just because I just saw their schedule and stuff and who they lost to. But yeah, I'm gonna go Utah. I'm gonna go Utah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you on this. I'm taking Utah as well. Just like you are with Sam Hartman with at Wake, I'm on that Cam Rising train. I think he is a really good dark horse for the Heisman, especially considering him carrying over that momentum from last year, taking Utah to the Rose Bowl. So I do think like UCLA with the West Coast offense under Chip Kelly has been revitalized, but I do think like that kind of stands kind of coming to an end with Utah. They are 4-1. Their one loss was to a Florida team, which we all thought was good, but in reality they're kind of mid.
Yeah.
UCLA this by one they really haven't played much, and yes, like you said, they are going to a Rose Bowl that doesn't really sell out. I do think that it will come close. Like more people will come now that they're ranked, and it's whether
You would hope so.
yeah. It's an afternoon game. Weather's supposed to be nice, at least when I'm looking at. So, but still, I'm going to take Utah. I think it'll be a close game at maybe 3 or 7 points, but I'm taking the Utes on this one.
Yeah.
All right, our next game up, just knocked out of the top 25, Florida State, traveling to Raleigh, North Carolina, to take on the 14th ranked NC State Wolfpack. This game is on the AC Network at 7 o'clock. NC State stands as a 3-point favorite, and for good reasons. Their quarterback Devin Leary, 108 for 172, 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, compared to Jordan Travis of 83, 126, 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 1 interception. I'm probably going to go against the spread on this one. I'm going to take Florida State.
Yeah.
I think they're going to see that really close loss to Wake as sort of like their way to bounce back. If I can pull up that's on here, that would be amazing. There we go. I think they're going to use that. I think NC State losing to Clemson is kind of be like that bump in the road of they're going to kind of fall back to earth of being a top 10 team at one point. I mean, yes, FPI says that NC State's 60% chance of winning, but I'm still going to take Florida State on this one. They're going to go out of Raleigh alive. They still have Clemson on their schedule. I think they're going to use this win, get back in the top 25, and just kind of use that momentum, make some noise at least. But in summary, I'm taking it Florida State.
Yeah. I'm looking at these conference standings, and the whichever division that Florida State and NC State are both on, NC State is second to last, and Florida State is in third with Syracuse and Clemson above them. That's crazy. That side is just ridiculously competitive compared to the other side with Duke and North Carolina on top. This game, it's a hard one to pick. I'm kind of liking Florida State on this one, but I'm not 100% sure because NC State is pretty good, and they've allowed under 20 points with 15 points allowed per game. Florida has allowed 21.2, so this is kind of hard of a pick. Okay, who do I want to pick for this one? Dang, I really should have thought about this. After hearing you talk, I low-key want to pick Florida State, but I'm gonna rock the NC State train. I'm gonna go against the grain and take NC State.
All right, so at least we have 2 games where we're different.
Yeah, I need to catch back up, and I think that's one of the games that I can catch back up on.
Yeah.
So we have the Red River rivalry in Dallas, Texas, at the Cotton Bowl between Texas and Oklahoma on ABC 11 a.m. in the morning, which is crazy for a big rivalry game like that.
It's always been at noon.
I, I don't like that at all. But it's pretty cool in Texas at the moment in the morning. So it might be benefit all the fans who might have a heat stroke. It's going to get warmer during the game for sure. But honestly, I don't know who to pick for this. Let me read the stats off. Texas is a 9-point favorite. Quinn Ewers will be back this game. And we still have questions on Dylan Gabriel coming into this game. Quinn Ewers is 25 for 35 with 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. To Dylan Gabriel's 85 to 133, 15 yards, and 11 touchdowns. Honestly, yeah, I don't know why I said I don't know who to pick for this. I'm definitely going Texas. We talked about this pre-pod. Texas getting back Quinn Ewers, who looked very good against Alabama when he played them. And Texas they have fallen off this week, not this week, this season. Everyone thought they were going to be pretty good. I know you did, Will, because your old OC is there. I know you really want him back. But what? Texas only allowed 21 points per game so far to Oklahoma's 25. And last week, Oklahoma just looked bad against TCU. So, yeah, I'm going to definitely go Texas this game. How do you feel, Will?
Yeah, I'm taking Texas, no question about it. And there are a few reasons why. First off, I think Quinn Ewers is coming back for the first time since Alabama. He has that chip on his shoulder. He wants to prove that he is that top quarterback in his class. And I think he's going to come in hot and just absolutely like blow out the defense, Oklahoma's secondary. Bijan Robinson also on a really hot streak compared to Eric Gray. But also, this is Oklahoma who's lost back-to-back games, pretty embarrassingly.
Yeah.
Texas, they had their 2 losses. One was a 1-point game to the current number 1 team in the country. The other one was an OT loss. Texas Tech, who's another good team. Oklahoma's games are, yes, it was a 1-possession loss to Kansas State, but then just going to Fort Worth and getting absolutely blown out by TCU is, I wouldn't say embarrassing now because TCU is ranked, but now the fact that Oklahoma is not ranked for the first time in a long time. I actually made a little adjustment to my prop last week. You see this? We're smoking the big game moving pack is coming back for another week. Texas is going to be smoking on that, and I cannot wait to see what embarrassing tweets Big Game Boomer puts out. Because we were talking pre-podcast, he put out a tweet of who's the most annoying fan base, and someone said you are, and he's Big Game Boomer like no you, and someone it was just embarrassing to see him put in that position.
Him getting ratioed on his own
account is hilarious.
Yeah, but it's still horns down. It's still horns down.
For all the smack talk he's been talking over the years, it's nice to see him getting put in his place. But I'm off my pedestal on that. But I also in pre-pod, I was looking to see if Dylan Gabriel is coming back after him leaving early against TCU last week. Nothing's been confirmed. So if anything, it's going to be Davis Bevell taking center for this game.
We want General Booty in this game.
Or General Booty, but I think it's going to be Bevell.
I feel like they might split snaps between General Booty and whatever that other guy's name. He doesn't matter.
It depends how Bevell does in the first half or so, I think. But I'm still going to take Texas, and it's not even going to be close.
Hey, I don't blame you.
And our last game of the week is a game we thought at the beginning of the season was going to be a turning of the tides kind of game, like a matchup we all wanted to see.
Yeah.
And that was A&M versus number 1 Alabama. Since then, A&M has lost embarrassingly to Appalachian State and then getting blown out by Mississippi State last week. Bama, no problems yet, beside the fact that we may be without Bryce Young. Saban hasn't said anything yet. But this goes also without saying A&M without their quarterback, Max Johnson, is out this game. He's going to be out for a significant amount of time. So we are seeing Haynes King come in, who is really not that good. So far this season, he's 39 for 64 with 500 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I'm going on the assumption that Bryce is going to sit this one out, and so we see Jaylen Miller come in.
Yeah.
In his 1.5 last week against Arkansas, he put up also additional snaps against the smaller schools. He's 16 for 27, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception, but he's still put up a touchdown on the ground last week. Bama is a 24-point favorite. So, everyone was hyping up this game because of all the stuff that was said over the offseason between Jimbo and Saban, but it doesn't matter now. A&M is an overhyped team along with Oklahoma. Again, throw this out. But Bama, no question about it. Is it going to be a 24-point game? Probably not. I think it's going to be a little bit closer because Bama likes to slip up every so often. But I think that this is going to be an Alabama win.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm definitely with you with Alabama winning. I'm really ready to see what Milroe is going to bring to the table. Even though I did see a glimpse of how good he is, or if he's going to be any good last week. But I'm ready to see if he can go the whole game and put a smack down of Texas A&M for all the people who are not Texas A&M fans. I hate both of these teams. Let me get that straight. I hate both of these teams with a fiery passion. I hate Alabama a lot more than I hate Texas A&M, but I know dang well that Texas A&M is not winning this game. Especially no Max Johnson and Haynes King getting the start once again. This is third time getting a start. Last year he started, got injured, out for the whole season, what was that guy's name? That he's at Alabama, Zach Calzada.
Yeah.
He started the season this year, got his spot taken by Max Johnson, and he's getting a third chance. And I'm ready to see if he can actually play like the Haynes King. A lot of people thought he would coming out of high school. He was one of those top guys. I'm pretty sure he was the number 2 QB coming out of high school. What's y'all third string QB, like Ty Simmons or something?
Ty Simpson.
Yeah, out of Martin, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to see if he gets shake in this game also. But other than that, Alabama's winning this game. They've only allowed on an average of 11 points to Texas A&M 17.8. Alabama is right now the top dog, number one, looking to win a national championship and to avenge their loss to Georgia. But other than that, I have nothing else to talk about for this game. I do have a question for you though, Will. We've been talking about disappointments all season. Who are the teams that disappointed you the most this year so far?
Yeah, we are at the halfway point of the season, basically. And there's a couple. Obviously, the ones we mentioned, Texas, Oklahoma. I'm trying to think of who else would be on that list. I'm just going based on Power 5 here. Michigan State is up there as well. Especially after giving Mel Tucker that massive contract after last season. Okay. So I'd say probably Miami is another one. They were hyping up everyone, and
yeah, Notre Dame's definitely one for me.
I'm trying to pick one from each conference. So I have ACC, SEC, Big 12, Big 10. If I had to pick a Pac-12 team, who would it be? Because USC is good, UCLA is good, Utah's good, Oregon's good, Washington's good. Honestly, everyone in the Pac-12 has been living up to their expectations. Some even exceeding expectations, like Arizona. I mean, if I had to guess, maybe Arizona State. Especially with them trying to basically tanking to get rid of Herm Edwards. So I guess Arizona State, if that counts. So yeah. Those are my 5 disappointing schools.
Yeah. I would put Houston up there too. A lot of people have had Houston being really good this year. Hopefully their basketball is the same way. Basketball does start this month, so I'm looking forward for that. So we we might be able to hit 3 podcasts this each week, to have a little basketball update, or we might just sprinkle that into the podcast we have. Most likely, we'd probably sprinkle it in. But
Yeah.
I can't
We'll
wait for
cross that
that.
bridge when we get there.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait for that because that's probably my favorite college sport for sure. Just because Arkansas is more of a basketball school than football, because we won a national championship in basketball more recently than football, and we've been to 8 elite. I mean, not 8, 2 straight elite eights in the past 2 years. So I'm looking forward to basketball season for sure because we can talk about Memphis basketball. I can talk about Arkansas basketball. You can talk about Alabama basketball. And I actually pay attention to most basketball games. My brackets have been really good. It's been like 95 average for like the past 5 years, I'm pretty sure. And I've always made a bracket with the correct winning team, which is crazy. For the past I think 3 years, well, not 3, probably 4, because 3 years ago it was COVID and we didn't even have the thing. But yeah, for the past few years, I have won our friend group's bracket challenge or whatever.
Yeah, I came very close last year.
No, I won once again.
I'm talking about my other.
Oh, okay. I was about to say I won once again.
But when college basketball gets closer, we'll do more in depth on that. But until then, it's still a college football show,
Yeah.
and I think that's a good point. Time to wrap it up. We'll come back on Monday, see how we did. I think there are 2 games that we picked differences on.
Yeah, the Arkansas Mississippi State game and the Florida State NC State game.
Yeah. Just go ahead and do your spiel.
Yeah, thank y'all for watching. Make sure you like and comment down below. Turn the post notifications on and subscribe, of course. We'll see y'all next week. I'll talk to you probably most likely either tomorrow or Saturday. Maybe tomorrow because our Memphis plays Houston.
Yeah.
But see y'all later, guys. Peace out.